Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's L-E-N-A-R-D. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show. This is a cheat segment. I am recording this as a lead-in to a standard Saturday show that is going to now air through the audio platforms, 25 plus, of Constitutionalist Podcasts. What was formerly a CTP video exclusive that I feel needs to go out as a regular show. So bear that in mind when recorded. It was a video exclusive. The dates, it could be from a month ago. It could be from a couple months ago. Bear that in mind when you hear things regarding time frames. It may be from a while ago. Particular references may be a little dated. And this segment of cheat, right? I'm recording it. I'll be using it with several video exclusives turned Saturday episodes. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk again about hypocrisy. I was just recording with a podcast. Should I say, Yeah, is the name, and it should air probably next week or the week after. And it was a good discussion. It was a great discussion. I recommend watching the show when it drops, and of course I will share across my social media platforms when the link's available. But the point I'm getting to is there was some contention during it because one of the people was a Bernie Sanders supporter. I brought up left hypocrisy. Actually, the host, Lisa, brought it up kind of and was talking about it. And so as part of it, I brought up Bernie Sanders. You notice Bernie used to say over and over, the millionaires and the billionaires. We got to do something about the millionaires and the billionaires. You notice he leaves out the millionaires part now. Now, why? Because he's a many times over multi-millionaire now with a $250,000 sports car, multiple properties, including one a beachfront property, while still all the while peddling man-made climate change money laundering hoax scheme. If all these lands you've been saying for 30 plus years are going to be underwater in 10 years. 30 years later, you bought a beachfront property. Your actions tell everything. You're not worried about the beachfront being erased. You bought a home on the beachfront. You lying sack of shit. And then the guy says, oh, well, Bernie always said we just need to tax the top 1% more. To gloss over and ignore he dropped the millionaires part. Well, yeah, he says one thing on the campaign trail, and other times he says the other thing on the depending on who he's trying to sucker at the time. So no more concern about millionaires now that he's won. But let's talk about that. Tax the 1% more when already the top 10% are paying 50% of all the taxes already. And it don't work. We know every time you raise the taxes on the rich, their lawyers and accountants dig in more in the loopholes and find ways to hide the money from the taxable income. You morons never learn this. Trump is trying to reshore the money by lower taxes. And if it's a threat that the tax is going to go, Liz Warren, a wealth tax. Well, here's an idea. All right, I'll be for a wealth tax in one case. Let's agree then, Liz. Pocahontas, you want a wealth tax? You want loan college debt forgiveness? Okay, let's tax all the colleges and universities with an endowment over $50 million. Let's confiscate 10% of all of those endowments over $50 million, and then we can give some of that to people in the form of college debt relief. The people who stole the money from the students in the first place. The schools who overcharged in the tuition be the ones to pay for that. Okay, Liz? Can we agree on that wealth tax? Of course not. Because the colleges and the professors are all ultra leftists and give to Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders' campaigns. But this goes back all the way to JFK. The Laffer Curve. It wasn't defined then, but it applied. Rising tide lifts most boats. You can't say all boats because that's devoid of human nature understanding. There will always be leftards who will be out there drilling holes in their own boats just so you can't help lift it. And they will also drill holes in other people's boats and try to blame you for it sinking while you're trying to help it lift. So a rising tide lifts most boats. The left will always attempt to sabotage the boats. JFK cut taxes across the board, especially it was a 90% tax bracket at one time. Eliminated. What happened? Did the government go broke? Did the government lose all the tax revenue? No, it went up because of the Laffer Curve. People tax less, find less excuse to hide money from taxation. This is simple to understand, but the left don't know. They don't want to know. They refuse to learn. We are all ignorant of things. They choose stupid. That's the difference. Stupid is a choice. Leftists are stupid. They don't know. They don't want to know. They go out of their way to refuse to know anything. JFK cut taxes. Treasury revenues went up. Reagan cut taxes. Treasury revenues went up. Even the first term of Clinton, there were some cuts. Treasury revenue went up until later he raised taxes. G.W. Bush tax cuts. Treasury revenue went up. Trump's first term cut taxes. Treasury revenue went up. Trump second-term tax cuts. Treasury revenue will go up. Because again, why? In part, it's complicated. It's complex. Laffer study and the Laffer Curve goes into this. Part of it's economics, part of it's mentality. Tax less, people find less of a need or feel or desire to want to hide the revenue, their income from taxation. Therefore, more comes in. Also, you cut taxes, it's pro growth. Businesses have more to invest in their own businesses, and companies don't pay taxes. People do. The company, if you raise the taxes, raises the prices of the goods to cover the taxes. This isn't difficult stuff to figure out. But don't raise taxes, or better, cut them, lower them. Prices may not come down a whole lot, but they won't increase. That's how inflation is. There's supply and demand side. There are other economic factors involved wise also. So reducing taxes is a pro-growth policy. And the other part of the equation is, as the economic pie grows, it's not a set defined thing. The pie grows, more room for more slices for more people. As the pie grows, the tax base grows, the tax revenues increase, even at lower rates. Oh, real world economics, not Thomas Friedman Commienomics theory. That doesn't work. tinyurl.com/Bradford Colony lessons or /Bradford Colony history. I forget which of the two now, or tinyurl.com/JLD articles for sure takes you to my Before It's News site. You can search through the long list since 2015. I started writing there, wrote other places long before that. Bradford Colony, the real history, the Mayflower Commie Compact. Communism was tried. Communism, socialism was tried here before Marx ever came along and thought he invented it. No, you dumbasses, you morons. That's why the left took civics and history out of the schools. Put social studies, social theory, Commienomics, commie theory, we wish history were this way, or we want to present history this way because we don't like dealing in reality. We only want delusion. That's why civics and history are gone from school for social studies. They don't want you to know Bradford Colony. They tried it here. They almost all starved to death. Then Bradford pivoted from collective rights to individual rights and personal responsibilities, from communal property to private property ownership. And those who were able to profit off their land grew more, they ate more, they survived, they thrived rather than starved out. And the rest, they say, is history or Paul Harvey. Now you know the rest of the story. The left refuses to teach you. They don't want you to know that. Our founding fathers knew that. Bradford, the Commie Mayflower Compact, was a bargain they made in England in order to get the funding to come to America. Their commonwealth, that's the origin of that word, a commonwealth. Everybody supposedly was supposed to work and equally, and everyone then would equally share in the rewards. But that never happens. Atlas shrugged and ran. There are always, it's why Jesus said the poor will always be among you. There will always be lazy people who do the less than the bare minimum to try to survive, especially if there's communist moron idiots willing to give them things they didn't earn. You must sow to reap. You don't get to just reap. You got to work. Unless in the Bible makes this, I'm on disability. I've said it over and over. There's a distinction in the Bible between the unable to do for self and those who are unwilling to do for self. We are to want to be our brother's keeper. Those who are brothers and sisters, widows and orphans, those who are unable to take care of themselves. It is our Christian duty under God's free will to want to choose to help them versus those who are unwilling. There is no obligation whatsoever to. So Bradford went from the insisted upon Mayflower Commie Compact, worldly communism, back to biblical community, free will, choice, options. You want to take care of your neighbors, but you've got no obligation to those who are unwilling. The left claims to believe in Darwinism, but when survival of the fittest comes up, oh no! You must protect the stupid from themselves rather than them die off by natural selection. So anyway, this really about taxes and hypocrisy. Santards, millionaires and billionaires. No, only about the billionaires now that he's a multimillionaire, again with a $250,000 sports car. Reagan, trust but verify. Don't believe me? Look it up at a valid source. I'm not talking CNN or the MSN imbeciles or Mother Jones or Huffington Post opinion sites. No, real fact-based sites. Bernie is a multimillionaire. Bernie changed his tune. Bernie plays you morons for suckers to keep building his wealth and keep him in power as one of the ruling elites you will never get to be part of. He's got a $250,000 sports car. He's got multiple homes, one on the coast, that if you believed him, Pocahontas, Al Gore, Greta Thunberg, and all them about 10 years ago, would have been underwater by now. But it's not, because it's climate, man-made climate change, money laundering, scheme hoax. Yes, the climate always changes. Always. The Dust Bowl was real man-made climate change. That case, it was real. We cut too much down. It created too much open. There were no brakes for the wind and the weather. So the Dust Bowl happens. But left won't learn from that. It's the same with the fires today. No, they can't allow us to manage the land and properly put in breaks where it needs to be in our greenery. Yeah, you might upset Bambi and Thumper for a few minutes. Oh, you're going to have to go relocate 100 yards that way because we need to put a fire break in here and clean up the brush, fire break. So if and when a fire happens, lightning causes fires naturally, as well as you leftist arsonists that are doing it. There are plenty of stories on that too. But fire breaks, less acreage would be burning if we managed our. It's the opposite of the Dust Bowl you refuse to learn from. We cut too much then. Now you morons don't want to cut anything. And is it better for Bambi and Thumper to burn to death in a fire? You morons allowed to happen. Then be relocated 100 yards. Yeah, you'll have to set up your new home over there because we got to put a fire break through here. But it's better than being burned to death. You retards. This is simple stuff to understand. Bernie, look it up, Reagan. Trust but verify. Don't look it up on valid sources. You can see his lying, his changing of positions. You can verify his wealth. But you don't know because you don't want to know. You refuse to know. All right, anyway. So, moral of the story, it's really stupid to, yes, at times you need to raise, no one I know is for no taxation. The tariffs thing, all right, got to touch on that. There was a time before the 16th Amendment, this nation thrived well, strived and was the richest nation on the planet then on tariffs only, and we had a safety net. I'm for a safety net for the unable, not a safety hammock for the lazy. That's the problem here and the difference. No one I know is for no taxation whatsoever. No one I know. You have to have some to cover, we all agree, communal police departments, fire departments are good. We don't have to have our own all personal security. That's what a police station's supposed to help for. We don't have to all have our own many fire readinesses at each and every home. That's what the fire department's for. We agree taxes for certain things. School. Oh, throw more money at it. Money isn't the problem. We keep throwing more and more and more and more money at the commie teachers unions and the education scores. The education level keeps going down and down and down. The money isn't the problem. The problem is the policy. The problem is your desire to indoctrinate rather than educate. And you oppose school choice. Even though I heard on the radio the other day, X amount of teachers all have their kids at private school. X amount and Y amount of administrators all have their kids. Politicians, especially on the left, Z amount all have their kids at private school. They want your kids in the public indoctrination factors, but not theirs. And they oppose you having any choice. Amazing how that works. The hypocrisy of the left. We need to go back to real education, not just throwing more money at it. And the same with all the Social Security. I've got a show on that. It's not going bankrupt due to legitimate people. It's being defrauded. Waste, fraud, and abuse. all the fraud, cut the fraud, and Social Security will be fine for the next 30 or 50 years without having to raise the tax on it. It's simple. This is basic math and basic economics, but they don't teach that in school. They don't want anyone to understand it. Basic accounting, I call for an accounting 101 class in every high school. You've got to understand debits and credits, and both sides of the ledger matters. They don't want you educated. They want you stupid, because stupid people who refuse to educate themselves are easier to control. If we cut out the waste, fraud, and abuse, we can get closer to balancing a budget and need to start to pay down our debt, because like Social Security, we're being waste, frauded, and abused into bankruptcy. And I hate to break it to you, yes, the U.S. can go bankruptcy. And when it does, there's no money for anyone. No money for, look at the Soviet Empire, right? They had to cut to the bare bones. They basically shut down their military, which they could do because we were never going to invade them. It's always been a lie on their part, a farce on their part. If there's no money, there's no money for the unable, let alone the unwilling. This is simple stuff. All right, I raged and jode too long. Thank you all. Take care. God bless.
Like you saying tired cries with nothing new to prove. The world passes by. You keep calling it fate, but it no longer goes unnoticed. Too late, too late. We heard it all before. Every polished excuse. You sold the same old story. Now it falls right through. Apology we need. We need. Apology we need. Like they cover the stain, but every room goes quiet when you say that name. No more smoke, no more spin, no more soft little lies. The mirror kept the record and it opened our eyes. We heard it all before. Every polished excuse. You sold the same old story. Now it falls right through. Apology we need. We need. Apology we need. We need. Say it with your chest. Say it with your teeth. Apology we need. We need. Apology we need. We need. But you keep on feeding that dead feeling? Will it finally get noticed?
Life isn't a straight line. It twists, it soars, it drops without warning. But it's in those heart-pounding moments, the climbs and the falls, that we discover who we truly are. Roller Coasters, The Life Kind, a book by Joseph M. Leonard, available now on Amazon.
Empty glass on the table, your side of the bed so cold. I yelled, I screamed, I was able to promise our hearts together would grow old. Now silence screams in my head, every word I wish unsaid. I professed how my heart swelled at your touch, but still put you through hell. Roller coaster tears falling down my face, fighting all my fears, lost in this lonely space. Roller coaster tears, never again to embrace. Roller coaster tears, a love I can't replace. The doorbell rang late that night, a siren's wail, a flashing light. My world went dark, no sun, no bright, just endless wrong, no end in sight. My anger burned my foolish pride, nowhere left for me to hide. I longed to kiss your sweet lips, lost, gone through my fingers, slipped. Roller coaster tears falling down my face, fighting all my fears, lost in this lonely space. Roller coaster tears, you're gone, no trace. Roller coaster tears, a love I can't replace. I pledged undying love till dusk, but alas, I was never worthy of your trust. Now these nightmares won't let me be. I was blind, I could not see. Roller coaster tears falling down my face, fighting all my fears, lost in this lonely space. Roller coaster tears, you're gone, no trace. Roller coaster tears, a love I can't replace. The story is over, but yet again I have to live on, keep your legacy alive, my love, my friend. Roller coaster tears falling down my face, fighting all my fears, lost in this lonely space. Roller coaster tears, you're gone, no trace. Roller coaster tears, a love I can't I could see your face. Stared at the ceiling, coffee gone cold in her hand. All these Tuesdays bleeding together like cheap ink on the back of her plans. She said, I thought there'd be thunder, some sign when my moment began. But the mail still comes and the dish is still dry, and the clock just ticks where it stands. Are we just mediocre days with a few bright minutes stitched inside, laughing in a car park in the rain, then back to traffic lights and tired eyes? If every breath is meant to mean more than a box to tick, a line to sign, teach me how to see the sacred in the middle of an ordinary life. She watched a kid chase a pigeon, trip, then burst into grins. Mother's hands trembling slightly, like she'd almost lost the whole world again. She thought, maybe this is the movie, not the part where the credits roll by. Just two plastic bags in a grocery cart and a quiet thank you at the end of the line. Are we just mediocre days with a few bright minutes stitched inside, burned toast bills and broken plates, then one small hand reaching for mine? If every breath is meant to mean more than a box to tick, a line to sign, teach me how to see the sacred in the middle of an ordinary life. Maybe the point was the waiting, the slow burn, the stop and go ride, the jokes that fall flat, the nights coming back just to sit on the edge of the sky.
Are we just mediocre days with a few bright minutes stitched inside?
Or are the cracks in everything where that quiet, holy light arrives? If every breath is meant to mean more than a box to tick,
A line to sign,
then every small, forgettable moment was the story the whole time.
Elevate your music with our production services for indie artists. We also create engaging book trailers. Reach out for a quote.
Like, and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist Podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.